everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to our 4 for 4 series. Now up today we are going to be working on layout 2, which means we are also going to be using 2 photos if you wish to do so. And if you're a 2-page gal, you can absolutely work on a 2-page spread. No rules here, just fun. Yes. Now for this layout, we're only going to need 3 pieces of paper, and I will have those listed below the links, so just look for the instructions for layout number 2. And so of course we're going to use 3 pieces of paper. I have my paper here to tell me what number is what paper, because you forget in between days. I do. Anyways, okay, so for our first piece of paper that we need is from our piece of paper number 1, and this is going to be your 6 by 5.5, and then paper number 2 is going to be the big beautiful 6 by 12. Yes. And then our pattern number 3 is what we're going to pull from that. Of course, I have a little bit of a direction here, so I have to keep in mind to that, is a 1/2 by 12. And again, that will be listed below. So again, 3 pieces of paper. Paper number 4, our pattern number 4 doesn't even make the cut. But we'll talk about some additional things if 3 pieces is just not enough for you. So I'm going to put this to the side. Don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this. No, I have to use it. I don't want to lose it. Yes, poet didn't know it. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, with these 3 pieces of paper, and I will have the video linked below where we did layout number 2 in our first round and our second round, because it seems like I always show different options, and so maybe it's just I get more comfortable playing with these pieces of paper, because sitting here and coming up with a page design with just a limited amount of papers is just something I find very enjoyable. I love that. So that's what I encourage you to do. Just play with these. So it's not right one way and it's not wrong the other way. It's just about having fun. So of course, with these 3 pieces, if you have any patterns here that have a direction, of course you would want to pay attention to that, because you may have text on this paper, text, and I have a design of Christmas tree, so I know this has to go a certain way. So what you can simply do, and I am always going to go to the horizontal first, and with our 3 pieces of paper, you can put this 6 by 12 in the middle, put your 1/2 inch strip right there, and then you have this 6 by 5.5. It's basically almost a 6 by 6, and then you simply can just put it here or put it there. Yes, absolutely fun. And then of course, we can shift it down to the bottom, and again, then this gives you more of a header up here that you can absolutely, if you have a long title and a lot of journaling, perfect place for that. Because remember, we're going to be doing 2 photos, and so I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. I'm going to show you the ones I'm going to do. And so you want to take a cue from your photos if you want to do a horizontal or vertical, or where you want to put them. You may want to mat them, you might want to stagger them. We'll talk about that. Okay, so then of course, then we're going to flush it to the top. And then you can absolutely take this 1/2 by 12 and put that at the top. Okay, and then you're going to play with this, and so you can put this in. If you consider this, I'm going to get this in frame. We basically can take this 6 by 5.5, and we have 4 places we can put this on this page, whether you go to the top or to the bottom. You can put it here, 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 and here. And isn't that beautiful? This would be a very fast, okay, my sleeves are getting in the way. I'm knocking everything. This is a very fast 2-page. I'm going to show this just for a minute, okay? So this is your left, okay, and you see where all the papers are flush to this inseam right over here. Okay, that would be your left, okay? Then you come over here and you just simply move this piece of paper, and then that's your right. Is that not a very fast 2-page? Yes, love that, love that. Okay, so then of course, since we show the horizontal, we have to go right to the vertical. And again, you can take this piece here, shift everything to the left or leave a little bit of space. And then again, with this 6 by 5.5, you have 4 quadrants that you could put this in. Okay, it's just wonderful. Okay, and then of course you can take it over here and slide your band over here. Again, this makes for a fast 2-page. Okay, basically it's what I just showed in horizontal, but now we're doing it in vertical. And then again, you can put this wherever you choose to do. Okay, and then with this 6 by 12 in the vertical, you can absolutely put it right in the middle. Okay, you can do that. Have fun with that. That's what I consider a minimalist page. I'm gonna look at the impact that has. I'm probably out of frame. Sorry. Look at the impact that has. Just 3 pieces of paper. Yes, absolutely. Okay, now what I wanted to show with this 3 pieces of paper it's like we do in every layout. If you go horizontal or vertical, you have 6 options right off the bat by simply just rotating your papers, okay? Just very, very fun, very, very simple. But now if this 3 pieces of paper is not cutting the cake for you, what can you do? Well, you know to pull out your scraps, and I have them laying here, and you can pull out your 6x6 papers if you pulled some for that. And then if you had anything left over from your previous layout, you can absolutely pull that, you know, bring it forth and use that. Okay, and I can't forget that I can play with those, because you see what I have that absolutely goes, and so I just doubled my options a little bit. So I don't want to forget that. I'm going to lay those not very far, because you know, I may want to use them in this layout. Now also, remember in our kit, if you choose to do so, you had some matting options. You could play with that. And then our glorious, beautiful bonus sheet. Okay, so don't forget you get to play with that too. That means you could absolutely use it in matting or cut it up if this is not enough for you. So you can absolutely cut some more paper. If this just isn't, you know, you want a little bit more. Okay, but believe me, oh, very, very pretty. Okay, now I'm looking at my notes here. Yes, okay. So now when we were talking about the horizontal versus vertical, and something I started to talk about in the last layout, in layout number 1, is that there's 3 things else you can do, and I'm going to keep repeating them so you don't forget them, and that is overlapping, spacing, and swapping. Okay, and so what does that mean? Simply by overlapping, you can overlap these to your heart is content. Okay, and I'm just going to show it in a vertical here. Okay, I have so many things floating around on my desk, and sometimes I think, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? Because I get distracted, but then when you get to playing, you know, oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't want to lose anything, because these things pop off quick. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh my goodness, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit trail. Let's get going. Okay, overlapping. Yes, you can simply take all 3 of these pieces of paper, and I could overlap all 3 of these. You see what I'm saying? You can just start playing and overlap. And then, of course, you can take this to the top. And then you can also, that could be down at the bottom. I mean, just look how pretty. Of course, my trees, I don't want them upside down. Look how pretty that is. Okay, you can put your 2 photos here and your title up here, journaling here. So quick. Love that. Okay, so overlapping. Okay, and then also too, you know, that goes in a vertical sense too. Okay, so with overlapping, don't be afraid to overlap all 3 or maybe just a couple. Okay, absolutely. Okay, so then we're going to talk about spacing. So what you can do for spacing on this layout is that, man, I'm all over the place. Sorry, it was probably those 2 cups of tea I just hated, so I'm sorry. So for spacing, leave some space in between your elements, and then you could absolutely fill that with border stickers or washi. Where's my washi? Oh, let's show this bling, and it shows up. Okay, and you can just keep playing with that spacing if you want to. Okay, and then also too, we had the addition of this ribbon. You could play with this. Okay, so whatever you want to with this 1/2 inch, you could absolutely bring it up here. Okay, play. I love playing. Yes. Okay, so you can absolutely space some of your elements. And then, as I just said a minute ago with swapping, you don't have to use this. You don't have to use this, and you don't even have to use this. Okay, you can absolutely say this second piece that you cut in a 6x12 just doesn't want to work with what you want to scrap today. You know what I say? Put this to the side, cut a 6x12 from your bonus sheet and work from that. Yes, or if you have scraps, don't be afraid to swap something out. Just do not put this in with your other pre-cut papers. You'll get confused, okay? Just put it with your leftovers, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. So don't forget overlapping, spacing, and swapping. Yes, because anything that we have here like this, you can just put that to the side, and you can swap out with something else. A border sticker, okay? Washi tape. Or, oh, I have this pretty, look at this ribbon here. Or you can do a combination of all 3. Isn't that pretty? Very, very pretty. Yes. Okay, so don't forget that, okay? So now, don't forget that you can, when you do your overlapping and your spacing and your swapping, you can use one of these two of those or all three of those options when it comes to border stickers, washi, and ribbon, because not everybody put all three in your kit. So you go with what you like, what you want to use. Okay, now let's talk about something here. And I think I talked about this in one of the other videos in round 2, I believe, is stepping out of your comfort zone a bit. Okay, so let me go back to my original pieces. Okay, I think this is so simple, so pretty, so quick. Gotta love it. Okay, so here are the photos that I'm going to use, and they are 2 vertical shots. Why? Because that is what I seem to use all the time, and isn't it just amazing? I'm gonna stop for a minute and say that in my photo I have a red semi tractor trailer. And look at this pattern paper, it's red. And I was just telling one of my lovely subscribers this morning, and I believe it was Diane, that she said she was leery of making a kit because she didn't have her photos in mind. And you know, it just is one of those things that always works out. When I put this together, I had no idea. I knew I was going to use this one. I had no idea I was going to use this one. And so it just works out. It just always does. And also too, I think if you go by mood and feel, some of these little details we used to pay attention to goes out the window. We don't need to pay attention. Okay, so back to my original thinking is that step out of your comfort zone a little bit. Okay, if you're always used to doing 2 photos like this, maybe how about putting them on a mat, okay, and putting them together like as a mini collage. Okay, instead of just putting them separately, how about putting them on a mat, creating a collage, or maybe doing a double mat. Or if you're so used to doing your photos in this type of vertical sense, maybe you want to swap your paper, you know, turn your paper a little bit, and maybe do your photos this way. It depends on the direction of your photos, okay? Now I'm going to talk about mine in just for a minute, because I get asked all the time, how do I decide on what design and where my photos are going to go? And sometimes I will look at my photos for that direction, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So if you're so used to doing your photos this way, maybe like this, how about swapping it up, putting on a mat, double mat, how about putting them this way for a change, okay? Always different options. Step out of that comfort zone, okay? And for me, what is my comfort zone? This right here. That is my comfort zone, okay? Basically, right there. That is my comfort zone. So, and this is what I would do. I don't even have to think twice about that. That's what I would do. And I have to get out of that a little bit. So maybe on maybe layout number 3, maybe I could actually rotate my papers, okay? Now on this page, I can't. And why is that? Because if you look at my photos, is that I have a highway. And of course my highway is going horizontal. So that is the way I want to do my page, horizontal. And why is that? Because then I think it makes my page look bigger and extends my story. Okay, now go with me on that. Because my highway is running horizontal, if I would bring my page, okay, and I would do my page design vertically, my story starts and ends right here. Okay, does that make sense? Because, see, I'm having this linear line of the road. Well, then it starts here and stops there. Okay, however, if I do this simple turn, and you see, again, here's the highway. Now, it's because of the design of my background page. Now my design and my story is this whole 12 by 12 format. I know that probably makes no sense, but it really does make a difference, because now my photo or my story does not start and stop here. It now is the whole page. And sometimes you can get away with that. Just look at your photos for direction. Okay, so what was the other thing I had? Oh yes, don't forget to match your photos, and don't forget to match your photos. And what did I just do with it? Match your photos in the papers that you put in your kit. Don't get into the ones that you put aside for your cards, okay? And then also too, don't forget you can match your photos in your bonus sheet, or let's really step out of our comfort zone. And how about if we would do a mat with that whole entire bonus sheet? Okay, now of course, since I'm dealing with snow pictures, my bonus sheet would go very well with that, so I may or may not play with that. It all depends. So don't forget, you can absolutely use this bonus sheet all at one time, okay? So don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone for that. Okay, so I think the last thing I wanted to talk about is that in the last layout, we focused on themed product because we were doing a gingerbread house. That's theme. Okay, so this time I thought I would focus on bling and zing. Okay, now I'm going to move this because I want this horizontal, and it depends on my page design. I may show you something else you can do with this. Okay, so hang on for that. Okay, and so we're going to focus on bling and zing. So I have 3 things here that I am going to play with. Okay, and that is because don't forget we have our tools. Okay, 1 edge punch or whatever punch you picked, a shape punch, whatever you picked, or you picked both, and then also 2, this type of product here. Okay, remember we picked this, the bling and the zing, and so I am going to focus on my tool and my bling and my zing for this page. Now, even though I'm working with a snow picture, how am I going to do this? Okay, and so my thought process is I'm going to, of course, use my snowflake punch because I have some snow photos. I have some crystal stickles, okay, and then I have this bling and zing of this gold ribbon. And what am I going to do with that? I have an idea in mind. So come back and I will show you how we play with some bling and zing this around and our tools, okay? And then don't forget, if you had any leftovers, bring them forth, okay? And we could absolutely play with that too. Okay, so that is all I have for right now. So I'm going to get busy playing, having fun, and seeing what I come up with. It's just fun to sit and play. And that is something else I was telling some of my subscribers. That is what this makes this series so great, is because the formula is so easy, so quick. You can get to playing a lot quick because you only have a few pieces of paper. Your choices are already made. And then you just get to play with things. Love that. Okay, so I will be back with my layout number 2 using 2 photos. Hold on. Okay, I am back with my finished page, and so that means layout 2 with my 2 photos is complete, done, finito, happy with it. Yes, didn't take very long because I honestly just used the 3 pieces of paper that I had. I didn't add anything to it, but I did something with it. And so what did I do? Well, you can see that I have my 6 by 12 of my pine cones right here, then my 1/2 by 12 and my little green Christmas trees right up there underneath my title, and then my 6 by 5.5. What did I do with that? Because you don't see no block of paper. So what I did was I cut that 6 by 5.5 into 4 pieces, and then I just butt them up to each other, and I just took that and made a strip because 1 inch was 6. One side of that block was 6 inches, and so that's how I got my 12. And I did that because right here's my seam, and right here's my seam, and you would never even see it. You can't even see it up close because of the plaid pattern. You can get away with that seams not matching up, not looking perfect. You won't even notice it. How fun was that I took that 6 by 5.5 and I made it into 2 longer horizontal pieces. I even had a little bit of scrap left over because of measurements, and I took those 2 little pieces of paper and I used them as a cluster base, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So of course I added my title, which says 3 inches my foot, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, a play on words. And then I also, with my embellishments, I did not add very much to this page, and so I'm going to talk about that. So the only thing I did add was that I took my washi, my wood grain washi that I love, and I took it and I put it on white cardstock, and I made it into a border sticker, border strip, whatever you want to call it. And again, it's just cardstock that's nice weight, but I don't care for it. And so that is the Vanessa trick. And so then I did that twice, cut it with my trimmer, and that is my wood grain washi border sticker right there. Okay, so with my photos, I decided to get out of my comfort zone, and you see I did not mat them. I just simply used 2 photo corners. Okay, so you can see that by taking that 6 by 5.5, that plaid block that I had, by cutting it up and making it into strips, little strips that I could butt up to each other. I honestly took my page and made it bigger because I wanted this horizontal design, which is basically what I always seem to go to. Yes, but I did break out of my comfort zone, did not mat my photos because they were white enough I didn't have to. Okay, so you can see with the design that I have is that it is basically a horizontal design. And then with my embellishments, I went into a diagonal design. And we've talked about some of that in our go-to designs. I'll have that playlist linked below, and you can hop over and watch more of that. Okay, so now with my title. Okay, 3 inches my foot. So you will see that I used a variety of fonts in Well, not only in size, but then also too, they're different patterns. And so when you have a big title, and so 3 inches my foot, that basically almost, well, that's about 9 inches. Well, 8 inches, I'd say, that runs across there. And so when you have a big title like that, if you use different fonts for each word, or every other word, I should say, you can get your title closer because you don't have to worry about spacing so much, because the difference in the font or the color will differentiate your spacing, if that makes sense. So if you have a bigger title, alternate the fonts or the color in your alphas, your thickers, whatever, and that helps you get in a little tighter fit. Okay, and so what else I have here? I think that's it, except the snowflakes. Okay. Let's talk about the snowflakes, and then I will show you, well, I'll just show you right now what I had for leftovers. Okay, so what I had for leftovers was, again, the pieces I have left over from layout 1. Now, you simply, at this point, you could throw these away, not even use them, or keep them for cards. I'm going to use them in layout 3, so I'm not doing anything with them. I'm just going to keep them. And then I had pulled a couple extra stickers, and whatever I didn't use just went on that wax paper, and I will just keep carrying that forth to layout number 3. Okay. So now let's talk about the fun stuff other than my journaling. Where's my journaling going to go? It's already earmarked right here. I have this mat secured, and my journaling, which is already done, I will be putting right there. But I don't want to have it on film because, you know, it has locations and people and things like that. And so then I just took a couple word stickers, put here, a couple down here, made a little bit of a cluster, and took some of my pearls, my bling bling, yes, and I used my red pearls just because I had the red paper, and so that's what I decided to do. Very, very simple, very, very quick. Now let's talk about these embellishments of these snowflakes, because what did I do? I did a little bit of playing. So I told you I had these 3 supplies right here, and I was going to use them to make snowflakes, and so that's what I did. So I absolutely took some scrap paper that I just had in my folder, and I punched a bunch of snowflakes. Okay, and so then what I did was, after I punched a bunch of snowflakes, I did 9, and so then what I did was I took some removable adhesive and I just adhered them to this piece of cardstock. I'll move this just for a minute. Okay, and so then what I decided to do was I decided to break out my crystal stickles. Boy, that's hard to say. Crystal. And this is my favorite stickle by all means, and I use it a lot for Disney pages. It's just my favorite one. And I think it's very subtle, but it's not subtle. It's just great. I think it has a good reflective nature to it. And so then I simply took my stickles with my snowflake and I started in the middle. And again, this is just temporarily adhered, okay? And that's why I used removable adhesive, okay? Because this is going to have to dry overnight or a couple hours at least. And I took my stickles and I put in the middle of this snowflake. And watch me not get any of this out. And then what I did was, then I took my nozzle and while I'm squeezing a little bit, I drug it to each one of those spindles of the snowflake, okay? That's how you easily get it on there, okay? And then before that was not dry, I took some of this ribbon. And what do you notice on this ribbon? It's got little snowballs or pom-poms, whatever you want to call it. And so then I decided to take some scissors and I honestly cut some of those little balls off that ribbon. And then while that stickles was still wet, I absolutely did what you think I'm going to do. I'm finding one here. And when these are so delicate, if I sneezed or breathed, they just, yeah, they went everywhere. So fun to play with. So again, while my stickles was still wet, I took those little balls and put right on top of that in the center, dried overnight, and there was my snowflakes that I handmade myself. Very, very fun. And then of course when that dries, it was on removable adhesive, so it was just so quick to pull them off and then use for my page. And you can see that's exactly what I did. So I put 4 up here, and yes, it has those little snowballs on there. I love how that turned out. And then of course I have 5 down here. So you can see I just have a diagonal design. I don't have 3 clusters. I don't have a visual triangle. I have a diagonal design as far as my embellishments. Very, very happy with that. It was so fun to just play. And you'll see that some of my snowflakes I put on top of, overlapped a little bit on my photos, and then I actually put some on top of my photos because I had so much negative space or dead space, white space, because of the actual snow. So what does it mean 3 inches my foot. Okay. So for this day, we knew we were going to get some bad weather, calling for 3 inches. What do we get? Well over 10, close to 12 inches of snow. Was not prepared for that, and I was just so aggravated that these weather forecasters cannot seem to get the weather right in my area. So my brother said to me, I think you need to find a different weather channel. And then my husband says this all the time. He says, I know of no other occupation where you can be so wrong all the time and still keep your job, and I have to agree. And that is basically what my journaling reflects, is that, yeah, 3 inches my foot, because it's a play on word, inches, foot. We calling for 3, we got near foot, so it's just a play on that. Very fun, okay? And so my journaling will go here, and I think that was it. I'm looking at my notes. That's it. Other than I'm going to start layout number 3, which means that's going to be 3 photos. So excited to play with that. I'm thinking 3 photos. I'm not sure. It may be home decor. It may be Christmas cookies. I'm not sure. Maybe little elf might make an appearance. I don't know. So that is all I have for layout 2, using 2 photos in our 4x4 series. And by all means, take your time doing this. It's the holidays. Everything's busy. And so that means come back in just a few days and we'll have layout 3. We'll probably have a couple days in between that. So no hurries. Just have fun. Okay. So that's all I have for today. Come back to RTS because you never know what we're going to learn. Bye.